the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. Wearing bags on their head, cause the team's playing bad. Let the haters cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
All right, Machine, bring us in, bro.
PH had to spit.
Oh, yes, here we are. Happy Easter Sunday, everybody. What you doing? What you doing? How you doing on this Easter Sunday? I know it's a wonderful day because this is the only day we have. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on this beautiful Sunday. There's a lot of joy in Laker Hater Land.
There is.
A lot of joy in Laker Hater Land. That's all right. But we're here today, because every Sunday, this is what we do. The Laker Haters, but Laker Haters only. I met some people last night. Ooh, they said, man, we're Laker Haters. What can we do to be a part of this movement? I said, go to YouTube, look it up, and give us a call and all that. It was just so wonderful. They said, we were so excited. We want to call in and be a part of this wonderful moment. So today I have Mo. You identify yourself. I like how
All
you
right,
do
Mo
it.
Punches from Carson.
Hugh from Boston.
Happy Rabbit Day.
There you go. And the number one Laker hater had an engagement. He said he's going to call up and be a part of what we're doing today. So I have to make sure I send this brother this number. So I want to start the show off. And also we have our engineer over in the corner. You'll never see him unless he come over near one of the cameras and peep his big head through there so y'all can see how he look. You got your shirt?
I got my shirt.
Okay. Is it looking? How you look on the
Yeah,
camera?
it looks pretty good.
Oh, I wanna make sure
Actually,
you
they
look
can
good.
technically see me
Okay.
from.
Oh, yeah, put it out there.
I mean, like, they can technically see me
Bring your
from
Boston. Let me see your Boston stuff, man. This
the
is Hugh from
other.
Boston, y'all. Look at that. How you like that jacket? How old is that jacket, man? How long that jacket been around?
Oh, probably 25, 30 years.
You are Hugh from Boston, brother. That's
I don't know if you've looked at it, but it's got all of the Red Sox pennants
okay.
from the early days.
Yeah, right. 19, is that a
1903, 1912.
1918?
Yeah, 1918.
Yeah.
1918 is the last year, I think,
Yeah, before they
because they
beat
lost. And
before they beat my team to come out of that old crazy thing
That
you all went
03
through.
hole.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, Boston is Boston, okay? That's how it goes. Blackhawks, baseball,
Celtics.
football.
Boston fans are
Yeah,
loyal.
all of it. That's a New England, too. They
absolutely.
They tied up with that, too, so that's the way it goes. So we're here today because everybody, I'm sure by now, everybody knows what happened yesterday.
Reality.
Well, since you said it like that, well, start the show off, bro. I like that.
Okay. So Laker fans will be like, it's an enigma. I'm like, no, that's reality check. This is basketball, and the way you win championships in the NBA is with defense. I don't know if, well, one facet of defense is rebounding. So I have not seen anybody other than Dennis Rodman dominate at 6'8" as a rebounder. So who does the Lakers have on their team who can contend with the size of the team against who they're playing? So as I told one relative who will remain nameless.
Is it a relative?
It's a relative who was just jubilant. Oh, we got this. I'm like, dude, Minnesota's massive. You're tiny. No, we got this. Okay. And the second half, I think, proved the point. So you can have the Lakers when you're old and when you're overweight. You're going to start well. But how will you finish?
Mm-hmm.
Typically, that does not bode well for finishing well. And they had no finishing kick. So welcome to reality. Here's the check.
Well,
Yeah.
There you go.
this Hugh from Boston is reality. They lose Tuesday. It's over for them.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a Van. I'm gonna be the stand-in for Van on this one.
Go ahead.
From Carson.
Okay, well, I didn't say profit or whatever because the profit isn't here. But
Okay, come on.
But it's very apt that you say profit, and how will NBA profit from the Lakers going down 0-2?
Oh, that profit.
They won't. So, in the spirit of Van, I think the NBA is going to do everything they can to ensure that series gets extended. Much like what happens with the Clippers in that game, where there started to be some interesting calls in that game. So I anticipate the NBA is going to try hard. It's going to be up to Anthony Edwards because as a player, he can now. This is the second part of it, but as a player, he can determine the outcome of that game. If he goes for 50,
Yes.
series is over. Series is over.
I will say this though, when it came to just what happened yesterday with the Lakers, Nas Reed also played a pivotal part. Literally, he outscored the entire Lakers bench by himself.
He absolutely did. I don't know if I see Nas Reed doing that in 2 consecutive games.
Oh, definitely
Anthony
not.
Edwards did not.
That's
have the
that's not a
greatest
good
game.
bet.
He was 6 for 22 from
Yes.
the field.
So he is basically set up to correct when his averages say I'm going to shoot 48%. So this game, if he does what he typically does, LA's in trouble. Now, that being said, LeBron has a history of finding ways to fall around star players on the other team. Finding ways to set screens that are solid. Well,
Gets
so
good calls.
He gets good calls, and he will be in LA.
a good one.
So, do I think Anthony Edwards will be in foul trouble? We'll see after the first quarter.
Okay.
Now, next question when it comes to the game 2, like we saw that they sat Jackson Hayes, like he only played eight minutes,
It was only 8 minutes too long.
and then they literally went small ball with Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt. Now we saw how that transpired because Julius Randle, he had himself a decent game against a former team that he was a part of. Rudy Gobert was a non-factor because he didn't need to be because Jackson Hayes not being there, he doesn't need to be out there because with him not out there, it makes it less of a liability with Luka cooking him
Yes.
because Luka had a great game. All things considered, he had
I
37
think he's
points.
gonna have one all the time.
Yeah, but
How was his defense?
This is Hugh from Boston. I was going to say and I agree with you, he had a great statistical game.
Yes.
But how effective was it really?
I will say
What
this
was
though.
that differential?
I will say this though. Basically, he was on a lot of pick and rolls on defense. Like literally, Anthony Edwards was going at him, McDaniels was going at him, and McDaniels scored 25. So that literally says everything right there.
Yeah, McDaniels had a great game.
Okay, so us, the Laker haters want to see the Lakers go down 0-2.
Yes.
This is what it is. It's no doubt about it.
We
They
want
wanna
to see it
this
happen.
madness, man.
Whether or not that becomes the reality, we'll have to see.
Of course,
This
but
is Hugh from Boston. Might not be a reality, but my definition of a perfect season for the Lakers is
Yes.
0-82.
that's
That would be a perfect
now that's a
season.
hater right there.
That would be a perfect
That's you from Boston, y'all.
Okay, well, we may be haters, but the NBA does not hate the Lakers, and they don't. LeBron, specifically, they don't hate LeBron, and they don't hate Steph Curry.
But that's
Those
all
are their
right.
primetime draws yesterday and today. The NBA wants to maximize profits. That's the only thing I can say about it. Me personally, I think this team is. I thought they were overmatched after the trade. When I talk to Laker fans, I'm like, you can't match up. Laker fans live in an alternative reality, and I'm like, and like I said, it was just reality check. This is you have to, if you can play like Golden State and you can go def lineup, maybe you have a shot. But I don't. LeBron is the only hope you have for the equivalent of Draymond Green, and he 40.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's like,
Right.
it ain't easy going and running around, and he has a history of having lacking stamina anyway. So he's not. What Draymond can do, LeBron doesn't do. So he got his rundown block.
Oh,
He had,
yeah.
he had the dude in front, so he had to do the jet, so he had his highlight, but he didn't block any attempts at the rim. It was legit. So, like, yeah. So I don't see it. But injuries, anything can happen. Injuries
And,
can happen.
like, you
Suspension
had-
could happen. Yeah.
Right.
So,
And you had the injury scare with Anthony
Anthony
Edwards.
yep.
I believe that was in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Third, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I had that injury scare, he was out. That's when Lakers started to come back. They brought it within I think like 10 or 7 at that time. And then Anthony Edwards, I believe, came back in the fourth. And then that's when they really just
Put it
pulled.
away.
Yeah. That's when they actually pulled away. Because, at one point, Lakers were within like 9 or 7. And then you never saw that again.
Hugh from Boston. When the Lakers were 9 or 7, out of it, the game was over by then.
There were still like 7
Well-
minutes. There were still 7 minutes. So there were still like.
That's kind of wishing and hoping from the Lakers side.
That is wishing and
My
hoping.
opinion.
Right.
We love your opinion, brother.
It's definitely wishing and hoping, but it's just like we've seen leads just
Evaporate, yeah.
disappear in this new NBA climate because literally Golden State almost does it
Every
with just a couple threes, and it's just that lead, that like 18-point lead, gone, just like that, evaporated.
So, yeah, more punches from Carson. That is the one problem with Minnesota because Randall is supposed to be that low post option. That is an upside from, and that's another reason, honestly, why I like this Minnesota team because they don't have Cat on the team anymore, who will find a way to foul out in 3 minutes or miss 20 out of 22 shots
And
or whatever.
Knicks were lucky that they were able to come back and go on a 20-21-0 run just
Late
to
in the fourth,
win,
Yep. We're late in the fourth. Yep.
just to win against Detroit.
Yeah. So even though Randall is not historically known for being a great performer in the playoffs, his performances are better than Cat. So they do have a low post option. When you get in trouble, you should throw it into the post. I don't know that he's, a great low post option, but he is one, and probably they just kept bombing threes, which is why the other team went on a run, because you're gonna go cold at some point. So they should play smart basketball. And even Nas Reed can post up. So, and this is the problem with the Lakers. They're small. I mean, I just always go back to the same point. They're a small team. If you put Rui out there, if you put Penny Smith out there, the biggest guy they have out there is LeBron. And I don't think LeBron wants to play even the opposing team's power forward. I don't think he wanted to play Randall. Because I know there was a time when they were matched up. And because Randall is all elbows.
Oh
So-
yeah, because he drew a couple offensive fouls on Randall when Randall was on the block trying to do a post move. He drew a couple because again, like you said, Randall, he liked to throw them bows.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
that's what you do in the post. And that was the NBA protecting LeBron.
Right.
There we go. There we go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing we haven't really addressed is that LeBron doesn't play defense, and he isn't going to get any faster during the playoffs.
True.
He's going to get
And
more
he's not gonna get
tired.
any
He's going to
younger.
get more.
Yeah.
Good point, brother.
The longer the playoffs go, the more tired he's going to get. The best thing for the Lakers is to sweep every series because
Absolutely.
if they have to extend, the chances for injury or exhaustion. I think part of that you saw with Memphis today because they had to play on Friday. They came back and played today, and that team, OKC, will run you up and down the court. So you want to rest, and LeBron in the finals, he's shown I can catch cramps or I can get tired or I can do whatever. And that's when he was 12 years younger. So, yeah, I think that's a valid point, but it's the point that I made to Laker fans. You're depending upon a 40-year-old. That's insane. Not to come off the bench and be your sixth man as one of your primaries. Okay, let's see how this goes. I have never seen it. Maybe LeBron will set history or make history. Who knows? He's made history everywhere, so maybe he'll make history. But barring an injury or a suspension, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think so. Yeah. Now Minnesota has been known to go into the tank. They went into the tank last year after beating Denver when they played Dallas, because Anthony Edwards said, "I got tired." So this is, and I have to say, this is one of the matchups that I called, which is why when my family said that, I was like, "Ooh, Minnesota versus LA." 2 weeks ago, I was like, it's just the positions were changed. I thought that
right,
maybe it'd be
okay.
a 2-7 matchup because Golden State would avoid the Lakers, but it went the other way. But it ended up there, and the only other one, the one that I missed, was Dallas because Anthony Davis decided to do an Anthony Davis. But yeah, this is one of the matchups I called out. Size on the Lakers. Okay. If they win this series, they're probably going to have some size in the next series too. If Denver, well, that'll be Denver versus the Clippers. So if Denver wins, definitely going to have size. If the Clippers win, they got Zubac in there. So yeah, they're going to have a tough road to hoe.
I think a lot of people are really excited about this series here, though.
Yes.
And yeah, they're really up for this one, man.
Yes, I'm very excited. I love watching the Lakers lose.
Yeah, I noticed that the refs was letting them play ball. I saw a lot of potential, foul calls.
You talking about the Lakers or the?
I mean, just across the spectrum. I was watching some of the other games, and I said, "Wow, they didn't call foul there." And they running up and down the floor. I said, "Okay, this is cool. Let them go."
Nah, but then again, it's like the fouls that they were calling, some of them were very just like, was that really a foul?
Okay, I see your
Phantom
point.
fouls,
Right?
yes.
Yeah, it could have absolutely.
Right. They were making some egregious calls, like some calls that were just like, all
If you
right.
want to see more punches from Carson, if you want to see some egregious calls, the Clippers are up 15. And to watch, I understand he's a 3-time MVP. But people talk about Shea. Okay, I'm going to have this conversation. Because the argument about who the MVP is, and one of the arguments people have is that Shea flops too much. Just watch Joker in the playoffs. Literally, he tripped over a 6'2" dude, and like I told the guys, and went fetal position. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, just play. So they were getting a lot of home cooking in Denver. Yeah. So that's why you have to have a player who can kind of shut that down.
Okay.
And if you don't have that player, you're gonna lose those home games. Well, the road games, because you're gonna usually be
Yeah,
on
in
the road
fact,
team.
we also just had that Westbrook fest where just like he can make or break a team, and
He made Denver in that last game. Yep, absolutely.
yep, he had. In fact, he hit the open
Three-pointer,
corner three.
Right.
He
He
wasn't
got a
able.
bunch of rebounds.
And the
Yep.
defense.
Yep, and like he may have sent them to overtime because he couldn't get the shot off at all. But it still came down to his defense in overtime played a huge difference,
Yeah,
especially
defense was
with
nice,
that
yeah.
out of bounds, which I'm still questioning between. I'm just like, why would you make that lazy of a pass? Just like literally make the pass literally overhead to where Westbrook can't get to it, and if he tries to get to it, he will have to foul.
So Westbrook has a home now, right?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Because,
Okay.
hey, odds are Westbrook is not going to beat you. That was 1 out of 4.
Okay. Cool.
So, hey, you have another home game. Can he lose that game for you?
Yes.
If Westbrook wins the series, this will be one of the few series that he himself has won. Because in OKC, he worked hard to lose some series. So I don't know. I don't trust that 3-point shot.
Again,
we
that's
keep-
why,
that's why he
we
was wide
gave
open.
him
Yep.
that.
Hey, that's your shot.
Yeah.
Go.
Hey,
It's like
make
this.
it.
Chris Dunn gave him that shot.
Absolutely.
Well, that's
made
the
him
other
pay.
thing. Why was Chris Dunn in the game?
Yeah, that's
What is okay? As a Clipper fan, why does Chris Dunn get so much playing time?
Answer the, why come?
I don't know. That's the thing. He plays defense. Yeah, but he's 6'3" and he can't make a perimeter shot consistently. It's you're in the late stages of a game. Okay, I see Harden. I see Kawhi. I see
Even
Batum,
Harden was
I
in
see
foul
Zubac,
trouble.
And you could put Norman Powell out there. Why Chris Dunn?
Okay.
Norman Powell was leading one of the league leaders in 3-point shoot. Why is Chris Dunn out there?
Good point. That's
It was just weird. Like you tried everything you could to lose that game, and you succeeded. So, yeah. So maybe Ty has learned his lesson. Maybe we played Chris Dunn a little bit less. You have enough guys. I don't even know if they need to play Chris Dunn at all. I think they have enough
okay.
guys.
Okay.
So
I mean, we'll see. We got game 2. What, tomorrow or Tuesday?
good question.
No.
We'll find out.
Let me pull that up.
What did the stat man find that out for us? Because
Right now.
I mean, it's amazing that both of the LA teams lost yesterday. And
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
One was more competitive. The other one was just.
No,
And one was a
I'm talking
home
about
game,
loss,
and another
man.
was a road game.
Yeah.
So the Lakers are in much worse shape than the Clippers.
We play
You
tomorrow.
don't really start a series until the home team loses.
Right.
Well, the Lakers lost game 1 at home.
Oh, man.
That series has started. The Clippers, they lost the game they should have won. You don't like giving them away, but they still have 2 home games coming up.
Right.
So-
So yeah, we play tomorrow.
This is Hugh from Boston. The Lakers still have a very bad record on the road.
Yes, that's why they have to win. They have home court advantage. They cannot lose home court advantage.
'Cause
They
if they
just lost home court
lose-
advantage.
That's correct.
They don't win on the road.
Right, right.
So this is not looking good. That the point you just made, it's not looking good for the Lakers.
But this is
I don't
what,
think
this
so.
is what the haters want. They don't want the Lakers to look good.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not.
I,
upset
know,
about
well,
it.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually Mo smiling. I don't have a Lakers shirt. I have a Clipper shirt. So yeah, would it be poetic justice? I'm sorry. Would it be poetic justice? This trade gets made, and LeBron loses in the first round.
It would be a poet.
Would that be poetic justice?
What a celebration it would be out here.
Oh my God, that'd be
Laker
great.
haters. Ooh.
So I would
Well,
love to
let's
see it.
follow that up a little bit because that's a great point. What happens if they do? What happens to the Lakers next year
This,
if
this,
they
this,
fall
show,
out this year?
this show will enhance more.
Yeah, that's true.
This show
That's
will
true.
be on top.
I mean, they extended Palinka already, so like that's not going anywhere. It's just like unless they.
He's my enigma. I don't understand why Palinka's still there. But
Whoa.
But yeah, but yeah, he just got extended. So, and he ain't going nowhere unless they maybe want to sign Jason Kidd as a assistant coach.
No, I think Jason had enough of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
But he
yeah,
will take the job, though.
we don't know if he would, and I don't think he wants to. Not with the fiasco that is the Lakers organization right now, especially when it comes to just personnel. Because right now, like Lakers need to get a lot done during the offseason, especially when it comes to getting bigs like the one that they failed to get in Mark Williams. If they had just let the trade go through, like you might as well have just released Dalton Connect because you're not even playing him right now, and he was one of your like best produced rookies, and now he's not even seeing the light of day unless it's garbage time. And so you might as well have just let him go.
Well, Mo punches across it. We had this debate a couple weeks ago. Hey, how can the Lakers get better?
Okay.
So Hugh asked this question. You were not here. As Rashid said, obviously they're going to make every move they can in order to improve the team, except they got no money. So the best-
and no players to trade.
well, they have a player with an expiring contract next year who makes a lot of money.
And
Do they trade LeBron James?
what's his name?
Do
Know
they
his
trade
name.
LeBron James?
Hugh from Boston. Why would somebody give anything worthwhile
Hey.
for LeBron James?
Right.
I could say exactly, but hey, it's like Dallas. You
Just
lost
off
your
of name
draw.
value.
Off name value. I mean, there were supposedly serious discussions being had with Golden State about moving LeBron to Golden State in the middle of this season when he's 40. So, because he turned 40 in December. So, obviously, teams think there's some value to having him around. I'm more interested in knowing would the Lakers make the trade, because that would take some real balls to trade a dude.
That would
who
take some
is-
real gumption.
Yeah, they try to argue he's the greatest of all time. So to trade this dude, and I don't know if he has a no trade clause, but it's the perfect situation because I think he's making $50 million on an expiring contract. That
Yeah.
should get you a
I
lot
think
of
you're right.
flexibility if you make that trade. It's a way to get Joel Embiid. One of the things I said, one of the players I
Right.
said,
You
to
said
move
that
over.
before.
Yep, move him over, pairing him with Luka. That could work.
Because
So-
honestly, Joel Embiid, I'm pretty sure he's done with the process right
I,
now.
I think Philly's done with Joel Embiid.
Oh,
That's,
definitely.
that was more the point for me. I think Philly understands what they have in Joel Embiid, and that is other than pumping the air out of the room, that's all you got. Nothing. So, so he needs a fresh start. And you put LeBron in Philly, and they become an instant championship contender. Well, they're in the East, so honestly, yeah, they become an instant championship contender.
Literally, their main competition would
Yeah.
actually
Boston.
be Boston.
Let me just toss in Hugh from Boston. When you trade LeBron, does that mean you trade Bronny too?
Package deal, baby.
Okay, just checking.
Package deal.
Just want to make sure.
You trade LeBron.
Any other kids he's got we have to put in the trade, or
You trade LeBron, you trade Bronny, and you trade Dalton.
That's a threesome, huh? Hugh, you sure know how to start some shit. I like that, man.
Yeah.
That's a package deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
and then as we were talking a little earlier about Austin Reeves, his contract's going to be up after next
I
year.
think he's more than likely. I think they might be trying to keep him at least for like another 2 years.
So they may extend them.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got to look at productivity because, like I said, Luka's already made a finals, and he had a formula for making the finals. You have 3 guys dedicated to defense.
He
you
also
have a guy.
had-
You have a one B or whatever you want to make it because you had you had Brunson and you had Kyrie. And those 1Bs try to play some defense. So everybody except Luka is kind of expected to contribute on defensive end. And so the conversation I had with Hugh is that do you get that from Austin Reeves? I had a friend, basically family.
Who's these people you're
My
talking
doc,
about, man?
my friend Doc
Come
from
on.
Mississippi.
Oh,
He
okay,
called in,
okay.
And he was like Austin Reeves and blah 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 and then at the end of the first game, he was like Austin Reeves was bad. Oh, he was comparing him to D'Lo. He's like, yo, because they really wanted to get rid of D'Lo because D'Lo. It's like D'Lo is really the problem. Yeah, D'Lo was the problem. I'm like, okay. And now Austin Reeves is bad. So I'm
Okay.
like, oh, so maybe it wasn't D'Lo. It's always someone else. What did LeBron do in this game?
You wanna?
Hugh from Boston, spoken like a real Laker hater.
Thank you.
That's, we
Look
got
at that
we
point
gotta
differential.
keep that.
What did LeBron do? He had, like I said, he had his chase down block because you had the dude in front that made the dude wave the ball, so dude couldn't dunk it. So LeBron looked spectacular.
Right,
But what else
because
did he
he
do?
made him pump fake and then delayed. LeBron was able to come in, get the block.
Yeah. But what did he really do in that game?
Let's actually look at the box score, shall we?
And look at that differential.
Let's actually look at the numbers.
Yeah.
So let me go down here. You see LeBron James, 36 minutes, 6 for 16, 1 for 5 from 3.
Minus 22 point differential.
Yeah.
So he had, as Hugh would say, he had impressive 8 for 18. Impressive. 1 for 5. That is LeBron shooting in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Hey, LeBron's making threes. Okay, you want to ride on LeBron shooting threes. Go for it. I will live with that
He only scored 19 points.
because he wasn't getting to the free throw line because they're bigger than him.
And Luka Doncic, 12 for 22, 5 for 10.
Getting to the free throw line.
You have LeBron James with 2 for 2 from the free throw, and Luka was 6 for 9 from the free throw.
8 for 9. Okay.
Oh, 8 for 9. I'm
8 for
sorry.
9.
I'm sorry.
So Luka's differential was the closest to. I mean, anybody think Jackson Hayes actually was the better contributor between he and Luka, who only got 8 minutes of time? In 8 minutes, Jackson Hayes had a differential of minus 11. That's more than a point a minute you were losing with him on the floor. You see why they had to take him off the floor. They are small. They don't have an option. I keep saying the same thing. They don't have an option at center. It is silly.
That's why.
Alex Lynn was +1. Put Alex Lynn out there if you want. I watched him in Sacramento. He's going to get eaten alive.
This is why we were saying, like, them not going through with that Mark Williams trade
Was huge. Yes.
literally is the catalyst for their own destruction.
Yes. So the Lakers will make every move to correct their lack of size over the offseason. It's just a question of how can they do that. And hey, Dallas gave him Luka. They were giving Paul Gasol. They sold Shaq. the Lakers have a history of finding ways of finding very one-sided trades. We'll just say that for whatever reason.
Right.
They tend to find great trading partners for themselves.
That's the history,
Yeah.
man.
So
AKA, they know how to make things work, but with no Jerry. Yeah, that's.
Well, this is Hugh from Boston. We have to go back to it. That's what the league wants. They want the Lakers to look good.
thank you. And
That's all.
that's basically my point. Yeah. So the league will make every move short of. I don't think this kid is coming out. He seems like he's going to do his NIL, $12 million, because that's more money than he can make as a rookie. But unless Cooper Flag is coming out, I don't think there's going to be a rookie that can immediately help LA the way Bronny can. So just silliness. So yeah. So they're going to have to. Pelinka's going to have to earn his money. And
Especially now.
Starting now.
Yeah, and
He's been coasting.
Yes.
Okay.
So, do I think the Lakers have a shot?
Say it.
No.
Thank you.
But like I said, injuries are part. I keep qualifying it because injuries are part of the game, and Draymond did hand LeBron a championship because he's silly and he got suspended. So, is there a hothead on Minnesota? Yeah, Anthony Edwards.
literally he is the hothead
He's a
because he
hothead.
has the most technicals on that team.
Thank you. So, could he get himself suspended for a couple games? Yep. And that would change the
and
nature of
funny
that.
and funny enough, on the Lakers, you have a hothead on that team, Luka Doncic,
Yeah.
who's always complaining to the referees.
And should have been out of a few games already.
Right.
So yeah,
Hugh from Boston. You consider him a hothead or a complainer?
I call him a baby.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, big baby. We got another big baby?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So always looking for every call. Always looking. Hey, if I'm missing a shot, it's not because I missed it. It's because someone tapped me or whatever. And it's like, hey, this is a big boy game.
he-
You're 240 pounds. Let's go. Yeah.
But I don't think he realizes that. He
Yeah.
always needs an excuse, whatever.
That
And
sounds
he gets
familiar.
what I called and was mentioning earlier.
Oh,
I guess I'd call it garbage points.
hold on.
Okay.
Breaking news: we have our finalists for MVP.
We already know
we
who the
do?
finalists are. It's the only number. There are three. Is the only question is who the third one is.
Yeah.
It's of course SGA,
Yeah.
Jokic,
Yeah.
and Giannis.
Okay. Now, this points to one point that Doc did make about, because the ratings in NBA, this is all played off, so the ratings in NBA are I think, down. And one of the points he made about why the NBA wanted Luka Flag to go back to school is so he can build up his following, so that when he gets to league, kind of like Caitlin Clark's situation. I made the point early, the biggest draws in the NBA are LeBron, I think Luka, then Steph. So top three are guys who are older than 36. So, except for Luka, not Joker, whatever. So, I think that gives you justification for why they want to see these guys. They want to extend series. They want to do whatever. But now you have, and I think the three finalists in the MVP race kind of show that, because none of these guys are native to the country. That is the predominant factor behind the NBA.
Yeah,
Okay,
literally,
there you go.
SGA is Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Jokic is a Serbian,
Yes.
and
Giannis
Giannis is
yeah.
Greek.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Greek. So, did they build up any fan base in America? People barely seem to know SGA. So it's like, yeah.
I would say those that are in the media that vote for this, because I think we'll have the decision for NBA MVP either this week or next week, I believe. So, and if we're looking at averages, Shai, he's averaging more points. He's averaging more than Jokic. As Jokic averaging 29, Shai is averaging 32.7.
But Jokic also averaged a triple double, I think, this year.
Yeah, and that's the only other part that goes in Jokic's favor. He literally averaged a triple double and got his team to the 4th seed. Shai, with his average, got his team the number 1 seed
I
for
think I
2 years in a row.
Bro, yep. I think I see clear cut MVP. Giannis is down in his series. Joker did survive an overtime game versus Clippers. But I think SGA just blew Memphis's doors off today. So I like that. Hey, you look at numbers. Hey, you look at triple double, Mo punches from Carson. The number at which I looked was, I think it was it 13 or 14 versus 29 or something like that. Number of losses.
Right.
Because I thought it was supposed to be how good the player makes your team, and usually that is related to how many wins or losses your team had. This was in a West that's competitive. OKC blew everybody out the water. So yeah, Joker is essential for his team winning. But even when they win, they don't win at the rate that OKC wins. I never understood why this race was considered close. He averaged a triple double, great, but his team is not as good as OKC's.
Okay, good point.
Okay, so here are the other awards. So for Defensive Player of the Year, you have Dyson Daniels, Draymond Green, and Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley's gonna win that.
Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Let's get this call, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that being said, yeah, I think.
Let's get this call, man.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Let's call him up. Caller, could you identify yourself? Caller, could you identify yourself? Must be a liquor lover.
Man.
Sound like man.
Caller, are you there?
Hello? Yes.
Okay, can you hear everybody?
Caller, could you identify yourself?
Wait a minute, say that again?
Can you hear everybody, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, how can we hear him?
Okay. Identify yourself for the group.
I'm Van Douglas, #1 Laker hater, a.k.a. playoff prophet.
Okay, everyone speak real quick to make sure that you can be heard.
Yep. Hugh from Boston. Heard you, man.
Okay, Mo punches
you
from
there?
Carson. Yeah.
What's up,
Hey,
VD?
how y'all doing?
Man, we're here without you, but you know we got you on.
Hey, I had to call
We got you on
in,
the
man.
phone.
I had to do some stuff today, but
We had to handle some business, bro.
hey, man. Hugh,
Yes, sir.
how did you like that game last night?
I thought it was fine.
Huh?
I thought it was fine. I'm looking at looking at Tuesday's
I'm
game
gonna
being
tell
the
you
same.
something. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. That game last night, you might see a repeat of that on Tuesday.
I think the Laker
mean,
haters
you
would
know-
love to see that.
Huh?
All the Laker haters would love to see that.
Well, you know, I'm was around a bunch of Lakers fans last night. I thought I was watching the game in the library.
Why was they that quiet, brother?
Huh?
Why was they that quiet?
Yeah, I thought I was watching the game at the library last night.
Well, not in the first
Instead of
half,
the
right?
bar.
Yeah, the first half,
They
I'm
was
sure
on
they were
quiet.
lit. Yeah.
They was on quiet, begging for calls, all that.
But as long as you protected, man, as long as you good, you survived that. We just want you to keep surviving these madhouses you go to, man, bothering these people, you know. So, give me your itinerary
know,
so I
I
can
mean-
keep a lookout on you, okay? I
Wait
need
a
to
minute, wait a
protect
minute.
you.
You know what? Give me a minute. I gotta get somewhere with a little less noise. It's a lot of noise where I'm at. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, anyway, while he having a second, man, yeah, we talked about what he's talking about now,
Yeah.
and him being the prophet, I think everybody knew the Lakers was going to lose that first game. I think I'm sure she predicted that. You predicted that, last week.
I predicted the Lakers were going to have some serious issues because, again, defense wins championships or series. And if you can't rebound, because that's an aspect of defense, you got problems. If you can't defend on the perimeter, you can't stop people from getting to the middle, you got problems. Those two things, they don't have size, and they have three guys that they play a lot who all cannot shuffle their feet.
Right.
So it just looked bad.
Yeah.
It just didn't look good for them. Just those two factors. So, yeah. So I keep saying the same thing, dealing with delusional Laker fans. I'm like, it's just reality check. So explain to me, I keep giving options for how things could change. But if all things are equal,
You guys there?
Gobert is not going to drop 4 inches overnight. So
Good fan.
Okay, Van is back. You back, brother? You found
Yeah.
a quiet place.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue your point, bro.
So my point is, if you saw the game last night, okay, it's simple. Remember in prior shows after we talked about the Luka trade, say, well, the Lakers don't have no size, right? And the minute they run into somebody with some size, they're in trouble. Well, you saw that last night. And the Lakers were very unlucky with the draw that they got. See, they were hoping for Golden State
absolutely.
or Memphis. Minnesota has got Gobert in there. And
Did we lose him?
Julius Randle and
Looks like we
We
did.
lost you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like we lost him.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
basically, after talking to Gobert and Anthony and all of them, they said, we're going to send Shannon Sharp a message, basically telling him that his Laker in 5 thing is going to work the other way around.
It's funny enough
Okay.
that like we're talking about that when in reality, like Rudy Gobert didn't really have to do anything. The main person that actually did something was Nas Reed coming off the bench. Rudy Gobert, once Jackson Hayes got benched, didn't even have to show up on the court, really.
Let me tell you this, Punch.
Because Nas Reed is bigger than anybody else the Lakers have.
Let me tell you
Randle
this,
is
Punch.
bigger. So,
Yeah.
This is Hugh from Boston. Let me just ask one question. Obviously, the Lakers has a size problem.
yes.
Well, how much size are they going to increase by Tuesday?
Th-
Nothing.
That's why I say they're in trouble.
Okay.
They're not going to be able to. That's why I say they're in trouble. They're not going to be able to deal with Minnesota size.
Unless they get some favorable situation. I have seen players get suspended when they were playing LeBron. I have seen players get a lot of phantom fouls when they're playing against LeBron. So those are two situations. The Lakers will be at home. Then there's something else you said. The NBA, well, 2 factors. The NBA loves money, and money seems to follow LeBron. So the NBA does not, I'll be honest, does not want a short series.
Okay. Beautiful.
So the reality of it, I can see the NBA doing everything they can to be sure this series gets extended.
Well-
yeah.
I'll say this here. The Wolves, I hope the Wolves know that after what happened in game 1, they're not only playing the Lakers,
They're playing the refs.
they're not only playing the Lakers in game 2, but they definitely playing the refs. It's going to be 8-on-5 game 2. The
So
thing you want to look at, they got McDaniels guarding Luka. Don't be surprised if McDaniels get too early to foul. Same thing, those two, McDaniels and Nas Reed. Don't be surprised if they get hit with a couple of fouls early.
This is Hugh from Boston. Just one question.
Hello?
What are the odds against or for the Lakers on Tuesday night's game?
The first one was 4.5. This one will probably be half that.
So basically, a
It will
toss
be
up.
lower than 4.5 for sure, especially after what happened last night. But I
Yep.
wanted all the Lakers fans to learn what a number one seed looked like. That was OKC today. That was OKC today.
Okay, but
I mean,
oh, go for it.
OKC won by 51 points today. They won 131-80. And it took the foot off the gas in the fourth quarter.
That's what the number one team looked like.
Well, to
Well,
be
that's what
fair,
a number one team.
That's what
That
it
is
looked
what a
like.
number one team looks like.
Okay.
well, to be fair, Memphis
know-
had come off playing Friday night, so and they had to play 2 games
Well, okay,
last week.
okay,
so,
even
yep.
even with that, right? It's game 2 might not be a 51-point win, but it's still going to be double digits.
Okay.
Well, it's not like we haven't seen something like the Boston Massacre happen.
Say that again.
You've seen teams get blown off the floor in the first game. Now, do I think that I actually wanted to see, because I lost Dallas. We talked about what I really want to see. Minnesota LA was my dream matchup in the first round because I thought Minnesota was going to be too big. My second round, I wanted it to be Dallas playing LA if they made it through because I want the revenge tour. Okay, but I actually like this matchup OKC Memphis because they all have size and they're all young. They're both young. But that being said, I don't think Ja is the point guard that Shea is. I don't think that Memphis has the players that OKC has. So I do anticipate OKC beating Memphis.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Ja, right? Ja has Bane there. He has Jackson there. Okay. But the thing is, if you look at Memphis, I still have a hard time figuring out what is wrong with Memphis or whatever. But the only thing I can come up with is if they can run up and down and get out in transition, they hell to deal with. In the half court, they're not so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, unfortunately,
They get
playoff
out and
basketball
run,
is
they
not
something
known
else.
for its fast breaks. Yeah.
So wait a minute, Punch, where did you watch the Laker game at last night?
At home.
Oh, okay. You wasn't around a bunch of Laker fans?
You was the only one out there bothering people, brother. Good
I couldn't
job.
even bother them good. It was so damn quiet.
Well, the first half they weren't, I'm sure. The first half they were rolling. Well, most of the first
39.
half. Until the
Hey,
end of the
in the
first half.
first quarter, when the first quarter ended and the Lakers was up 7, yeah. Second quarter, it went quiet. It went quiet. So where everybody go? They left without saying bye.
Where's your hangout,
know?
brother? Where's your hangout? I need to protect you.
Man, I'll be up there at the American Legion, but there's some sensitive Lakers fans up there.
Well, they all
know,
are, aren't
they
they,
get
fellas?
sensitive.
Aren't they, Hugh?
Well,
Huh?
you from Boston. I was just thinking or daydreaming. What happens to J.J. Redick if they lose the series in 4?
I love these questions.
What happened to who?
JJ Redick.
J.J. Redick is about to find out what real coaching is. You
Thank you.
was coaching in the regular season, and you had LeBron, you had AD, y'all traded for Luka.
Right,
Y'all, whoop, whoop, whoop. And now, JJ, got your ass whooped last night. Wasn't even close. And now, the ball is in your court. What adjustments are you gonna make? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Besides have that emergency meeting with the ref. What you gonna do? I guarantee you, between Adam Silver, J.J. Redick, and the referees that's gonna call game 2, they all had a meeting. LeBron might have been in there too.
Okay.
Okay, we
All
gonna
right,
let
you got
we
the
gonna
inside
LeBron, we
scoop,
gonna let
brother.
huh?
So you got the inside scoop. We love it.
Well, you know, I mean, hey, I called it all week. See, they messing with this. Now, the Clippers messed the profit up yesterday. Mo punches, what was that in the fourth quarter?
What was that at the end of the second quarter, where he just had like 5 turnovers in the last 2
Y'all
minutes?
was up 15. Y'all was up 15. But see, that's what I mean with Harden. Harden hit some shots in the fourth quarter, but I'm going to tell you this. I could give the Clippers a pass for that first game because they played the perfect defense. If anybody was going to shoot that 3 at that time,
It's gonna be
it was
Westbrook.
supposed to be Westbrook, and
Yep.
they did that. Westbrook just happened to hit the shot.
Yes, he did.
But the
You
thing
know,
you're missing is all the offensive rebounds late in the game.
Yeah.
So the Clippers were doing some interesting stuff. I had this question about why Chris Dunn was in the game. I don't think he was enough of the defensive factor to have him in the game, and he can't make a perimeter shot consistently. But if you're gonna argue Clippers, well, one, it's a different situation with the Lakers. The Lakers were the home team. The Clippers were the road team, and the playoffs don't start until the home team loses. So
That's a
the
good
Clippers
point.
still have opportunity. The Clippers lost in double overtime, and it exposed something a friend of mine said about Kawhi, and I'm gonna say this: Kawhi has no move, no go-to move. So yeah, when he needed 2 points, he ended up getting the ball poked away once. That was, they had the 2-for-1, and then the next one, I think he tossed up a turnaround, whatever.
I still think that ball went off of Murray.
I think it went off Murray, but
not
that's one of the points I was making, because the other thing that happened is LeBron is a great actor, and so is Joker. Joker was falling over point guards. So
Yeah, he put on the show yesterday.
he put on a show. And so this is we're getting back to the argument about MVP. So one of the arguments people had against Shea was he flops too much. Well, Joker was, I don't know what you call it, but those look like some questionable situations. Yeah, he fell. And he did one on Zubac that was after he fouled Zubac. He came out to the other end. Zubac just put his hands on him. He fell again. It's like,
Okay,
you're
right.
sitting here watching this like, it is obvious to me what's happening here, ref. That should be a technical foul on Joker. But anyway, so yeah. So I don't think there's any argument about Shea, this is outside, but Shea winning MVP, because if that's what Joker's going to do to win a home game.
I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you something funny.
So, but they got back into the game because they started getting some interesting calls.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me take a little pause for a moment. I want to throw some information out there to everybody. Dr. Savies, the Vietnam veterans, and some more things that we advertise on this broadcast. We will be right back at you.
Hanging out with Johnny and Cheryl. Johnny and Cheryl. I'm hanging out with Cheryl, Johnny and Cheryl. We're hanging. Johnny and Cheryl, 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 hanging. Oh, Johnny and Cheryl, Cheryl and Johnny, Johnny and Cheryl, Cheryl and Johnny and Cheryl.
Hello, my name is Robert Malik. I'm a member of the Earl Gardner Veterans Group. We're a veterans group that helps veterans get service-connected compensation. We say, are you a veteran of the U.S. military? Then get benefits and financial compensation. Did you serve during the Vietnam, Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan wars, or even the Korean War or World War II? You can act now. You are suffering from PTSD and you need counseling. you are losing VA benefits because you are eligible for financial compensation. Come to a PTSD meeting of vets to find out what you're missing. We meet 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Where? At the Inglewood Community Center, 2640B Imperial Highway, directly across from the U.S. Post Office at the corner of Crenshaw and Imperial. Or call 323-291-1517 or 323-559-8196. We're here to help. We're veterans helping veterans. Thank you.
Dr. Sebi was a world-renowned herbalist who cured many diseases with his holistic approach to nutrition and herbs over the last 50-plus years. Dr. Sebi formulated African biomineral herbal products that cleanse and nourish the body on a cellular level. His products, in conjunction with his nutritional guide, support the body's natural ability to regenerate and heal. Dr. Sebi proved that his formulas can reverse disease. And in 1988, through the state of New York Supreme Court, Dr. Sebi's products were classified as natural vegetation cell food by Lancaster Labs. Dr. Sebi believed that the root cause of all disease was mucus. Thus, disease manifests itself in the body where mucus has accumulated. Disease only lives in an acidic environment. Dr. Sebi's products help cleanse the body by extracting mucus, and they nourish the body by providing minerals and nutrients on a cellular level. His nutritional guide promotes an alkaline environment in the body to support the healing process and achieve optimum health. None of this information is intended to replace any program that your medical doctor has prescribed for you. You may contact them at 310-838-2490. That's 310-838-2490. Their hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and their lunch hour is from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Visit the website at www.drsabyscellfood.com for more information.
All right, thanks a lot, Makai. I appreciate you, my brother. Yes, that was my grandson doing his thing for a moment. So don't forget, go over to Dr. Sebi's office, 2807 South La Cienega. That's one street light west of La Cienega Boulevard. They're open every day, Monday through Friday and Saturday, from 9 to 5, and Saturdays are from 9 to 2. So don't forget, when you get there, let them know where you got this information from the Gospel Hours with Johnny and Cheryl, or Cheryl and Johnny. Okay, we're here. We got an hour deep into our broadcast. A lot of interesting things has been pointed out. I appreciate what everybody's in here doing. They're here because they know what the fuck they're talking about. That's why they're here. You know, we got
Mo Punches from Carson.
Hugh from Boston.
Rashid, the engineer.
Number one Laker hater.
yes,
Playoff
and we
box.
have number one Laker hater on the phone. Could you voice your sound, sir?
Van Douglas, number one Laker hater and playoff prophet.
How about that, y'all? That's unbelievable. And I'm Johnny. I'm keeping everything in check around here. I got to make this announcement. I didn't tell everybody here yet, but I have to leave at 5 o'clock. There's an engagement that I must attend. We're doing something at the Miracle Theater tonight, and this is 420. I heard they're going to be doing a lot of weed smoking over there because this is 420, whatever that means. Yeah, right, Johnny. So I'm going to let these experts in here take over while I get on up out of here. I hope y'all don't mind me running out on you, Mr. Hugh from Boston. Is that okay with you?
That's
Can
fine
I-
with me, but that means the inmates are taking over the asylum.
May I be excused today, so I have some things to do. Mo Punches, you don't mind me leaving up out here.
Oh, you're all good.
I'm sure you all can handle it and keep everything interesting. Make sure y'all keep pissing these Laker lovers off. This is why this show is designed the way it is. We appreciate it. Rashid, our engineer, keep doing what you're doing. Mr. Van Douglas, I got to keep it moving, brother.
All right.
See you all next week, and everybody make their prediction for next week. Lakers down. It should be over. It should be over
It
next
should be
week.
over
right?
next week if all things being equal. Yeah.
You said the same thing?
Absolutely. Over next week.
Rashid, you agree with that? If we come back next week, the Lakers will be out.
Well, we'll
Well,
see.
the Lakers, if they're not out, they're gonna be on life preserve.
I guess the real
If
question
they
is
ain't out, they're gonna
how
be on life preserve.
many games do they have before next Sunday? 3 or 4?
They play Tuesday, probably play
And
Friday, and Sunday.
Friday. Okay,
By the
then
time
we'll,
we go on air next week, they gonna be either done or they gonna be on life support, and we gonna all pull the plug together.
oh, listen to that. That's why you who you are, brother. That's why who you are. That's why.
Because from what I saw last night, the refs gonna have to step in on this.
It wouldn't be
They're
the
gonna have to
first
step in
time.
on this,
It would not be the first time.
especially with the Lakers.
Nor the last time.
After his historic season, the NBA does not, and I've made this statement, the NBA does not want to see LeBron James. He scored 50,000 points. He did something else, whatever. He's the best player of all time. See him go out in the first round?
That's why I say. That's
Hugh
why
from
I say
Boston, just
Tuesday
thinking,
night,
is LeBron James really that big of a draw now?
If you look at the stats, my friend made this point. If you look at the stats, it's LeBron, then it's Luka, then it's Steph.
Okay.
Those are the top 3 drawers. So the NBA, the Lakers literally have the top 2 individual draws in NBA. They do not want to lose that money. I'm gonna be as straight up about it as possible. They will do everything they can, short of, I don't know, food poisoning Anthony Edwards, to be sure the Lakers win that game. I'm looking at statistics, and I'm not looking at Nas Reed having another game like that, or I'm not looking at, I forgot who the small forward's name is. I'm looking at Anthony Edwards having a game because he was 6 for 22. So I'm like, yeah. So if they do make the mistake of, fouling out the wrong guys, and Anthony Edwards goes off, they can still win that game. So, but Anthony Edwards is Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
So,
well, I just got a memo. Game 2 on Tuesday is going to start. Gobert, Reed, and McDaniels all going to have 2 fouls. They're going to start the game with 2 fouls.
well, they can actually live with that because having Gobert out, they can live with that. They can have Julius Randle play. I think
But
the
see,
biggest
here's the
hit to
thing,
that
Bart.
would be it'd be the kid who plays small forward because he's the matchup for Luka. But that kid gave 37 to Luka anyway. So, can you basically survive the way the Lakers work? I don't know if anybody's noticed this. You have a guy, and I said this earlier. You have a guy who's 40, and you have a guy who's overweight. They're going to be at their best early in the game. One of the reasons why they kind of tailed off is LeBron gets tired, and Luka they both get tired. One due to age, another. So if you can survive, what the Lakers tend to do is try to blitzkrieg you in the first quarter. If you can survive that first quarter, you got a shot at beating the Lakers. Minnesota, they were okay. They were down, I think, 7 at the end of the first quarter instead of being down 16. So if you can keep it within 4 or 6 versus the Lakers at the first quarter, I think you're,
Well,
I
I
think
put
you're
it
good.
like this.
Yeah.
I put it like this. All I want is let them play. Let them play. Keep the refs out of it. And that's all Minnesota needs. Don't we know we got to play the Lakers, but don't have us playing the refs too.
Well, unfortunately,
And I don't know if it's going to be like that tomorrow. Tuesday.
Unfortunately, I don't see it. Because if you give me a matchup that the Lakers can win, Luka, okay, they can win the Luka matchup. Is LeBron going to go for 42? Okay. So if he does, then he and Luka have 80, the Lakers got a shot. But if he doesn't, then I just don't see it. Anthony Edwards has been known to be explosive, so he's going to win a game or 2 by himself. So, and Hugh has made the point, the Lakers don't play well on the road.
Let me
So
say
this series
this.
is over.
You notice You notice it's one name that we didn't even mention so far.
Austin Reeves.
Exactly.
We actually talked about it.
Now,
Yeah.
before the fourth quarter, Reeves was nowhere to be found. Okay, he ended up with 16 points, but those 16 points was, by that time, it was garbage time.
Garbage points. Yep.
You know, by that time, the game was over. So my thing is, and I said it also, who is Reeves going to guard? See, the Lakers' problem, whether they want to admit it or not, the Lakers' problem is you got too many guys on the floor with Luka, LeBron, and Reeves that can't guard nobody. And if one of them is off or two of them is off, where's the scoring coming from? Luka had 37 last night. LeBron had 19. Julius Randle had 16.
So that was a wash. Yeah.
So Julius Randle's 16 basically nullified LeBron's point. Then you had the other guy that came off the bench that canceled out Reeves' point. You had DiVincenzo and Walker, Alexander Walker, they canceled out Reeves. And if you look at the three-point line, Minnesota 21 of 42, Lakers was 15 for whatever. You got outscored from the three-point line. You got outscored by 18 at the three-point line. You got outscored by 12 in the paint. That's 30 points in those two categories. But the
Well,
thing
where the
that got
Lakers
me
usually,
was,
where the Lakers
Go
usually
ahead.
make up that difference is the biggest problem. The Lakers usually make up that difference with free throws. So
they didn't get them
the
last
Lak-
night.
But they're not big. That's the point. They're not big anymore. LeBron built his teams around being bigger than you, so we can go into the post and force you to foul, and so they're not bigger than Minnesota. They can't make up that difference. They're not a great three-point shooting team. Austin Reeves
not a great three-point
Austin
shooting
Reeves
team?
is going from being All-Star Reeves to being oh my God Reeves. So it's like, yeah. So if this is the team you have, you're not going to change this team in the middle of your playoff run. So what can you do? And that's where I
Exactly.
just said the reality check is before the playoffs started, you look at this team, the way NBA teams usually are constructed that win, you don't have a donut in the middle. You don't have a hole in the middle. You have perimeter defenders. What you just
Yeah.
described is a donut team that is a donut because the perimeter defenders are not there either. So you can't stop anyone from getting to the basket. And once they get to the basket, you can't block their shot.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I
perfect
think that's the
example-
description of the Lakers.
This is
Perfect
Hugh from
example. You
Boston.
hit it on
I
the
mean,
head. You
what do you
hit
guys
it
think
on-
about LeBron's game? Last game. I mean, I wasn't overly impressed with it. You going to have better games in the next couple of games? I don't think so.
Q, let me point something out to you. I'm gonna say one name, and I'm gonna give you the stats. Jackson Hayes played 8 minutes last night, had 1 point and 3 rebounds. That's your starting center. Okay? And we was talking about Gobert, right? They don't need Gobert to score. They just need Gobert to protect the rim. He blocked 2 of LeBron's shots last night, and he blocked a few others. But with him in there, like I said, the Lakers must hit their threes in this series. They hit 15 last night, but Minnesota matched that and some. Now, as this series goes on, you're going to see what I'm talking about. The three-point line is going to be very urgent for the Lakers. And if the Lakers are shooting a bunch of threes, right, then they're not going to get the foul call. You know, they're not going to get the foul call. So I mean that we say we look for that the rest of the series. But if I can, Hugh, let's talk about Boston. Okay?
Always willing to talk about
think-
Boston.
Huh?
I'm always willing to talk about Boston.
Okay. So I'm looking at this game today. It seems like Boston was just playing with Orlando. You know, Boston put on a run when they needed to get a comfortable lead, and then after that, they was just playing with them.
Yes, because Boston
see-
has a deep team. Their first 8 players are pretty damn good.
Yes.
Yeah, because Tatum didn't have a great game today.
No, the leading scorer was I think Pritchard was second, and I think White was first.
White had a good
Yeah,
game.
White
But he
had-
had a few
White
good
had a hell
games
of a
last
game.
year, too.
Yes. But that's my point when it comes
Yeah.
to the Lakers. The other thing about the Lakers is their role players are not, they've proven themselves, but they've proven themselves tradable. Finney Smith never had a great playoff run. The left-hander that they got out of Minnesota got traded out of Minnesota. You don't have a Derek White. You don't have a Drew Holiday. You don't have these guys who, hey, we need you to step up and give me 20. Okay, I'll do that today. Yeah. And
So,
Drew Holiday was
when you
guarding,
look at-
he was guarding Banchero and making it hard for Banchero, and he was getting up 5 inches and like 30 pounds. So Boston has great role players. The other flaw in the Lakers is their role players are not that good.
Well, if you look at the Lakers last night, Finney Smith had 3 points. Gabe Vincent had 3 points. Hachimura had 9 points.
Great Hachimura game.
Okay? Compare that to Naz Reid, McDaniels. Naz Reid and McDaniels outscored the whole Laker bench.
Nas
those
Reed
two
may have
guys had
outscored the Laker
48.
bench.
Yeah, those 2 guys scored 48 points. Finney Smith and Hachimura had 12. 48-12 with those 2 players against Hachimura and Finney Smith. And then you throw Gabe Vincent in there, 48-15. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. There is no comparison. In order to win championships, as Boston have showed, you have to have great role players. You have to have, because your primary guys may not always have it, but you got to have people who can give you something. They have Al Horford. They have Porzingis is actually counted, I think, as a primary. But you have Al Horford. You have White. You have Pritchard. You have I keep forgetting about Drew Holiday. You have these guys who have shown when the pressure's on, I'm gonna make that shot.
This is Hugh from Boston. I also noticed that I think Horford played for 25 minutes. Didn't have big stats or whatever, but he played for 25 minutes.
Who's
was
that, Tatum?
important.
Horford,
Horford.
Oh, okay.
he gave them size in the middle. They just couldn't go in and they couldn't post up and just go to work.
Back to
So,
the role player thing.
Yeah.
That's what he's there for.
yes. If you need me to make threes, I'll make those threes. This game, you didn't need me to make threes. I'm just gonna sit here, guard the paint, because Orlando wanted to get into the paint. They're an atypical NBA team in this era. They weren't launching a bunch of threes. So I'm gonna go out the paint, make it hard for them, and we're gonna win by 20. Boom, we're good. Yeah. So Hugh has made a point, by the way. We talked about this in passing, man. Hugh has made a point. I'm just gonna raise it. Where are the Lakers in two years?
Well, LeBron won't be there. So
Right.
they're gonna have to go get another superstar. But who's gonna be out there? They can't trade to get him, so it's got to be in free agency. So, you know,
But
they're gonna have a hard
Reeves,
time.
This is Hugh from Boston. Reeves' contract is up in 2 years, I believe.
They're gonna re-sign Reeves.
Right. But is he the answer?
He is for me. The
No.
Lakers guaranteed
No.
early exits.
Reeves gets what he gets because of LeBron and Luka. But the thing is, if you look at what happened last night, Minnesota didn't have to double team Luka. They said, we're not going to double team Luka. We're not going to double team LeBron. We're going to play it straight up, which means that we're going to shut down Hachimura, 9 points, Finney Smith,
Reeves?
3, Gabe Vincent, 3, Reeves, 16. Most of those 16 was in garbage time. You know, the Reeves points came after the game was over.
I
You
think
can
I might have
almost
just
say
been
that about
corrected. How many years has Reeves got left in his contract, Rashid?
So Reeves right now he has 2 more years on his contract because he signed an extension back in 2023. That was a 4-year extension.
So in 2 years, his contract will be up.
So yeah, in 2 years.
So, all right, in 2 years. So he will be here 2 years from now.
So yeah, literally 2027 is when his contract actually expires. I think he has a player option. That last year, the 2026, 2027. So technically, he has a year left, and then the last year is an option.
But I just don't see building a team around Reeves as one of your top 3 players.
Well, you know what? And I can see that point, and that's what I say. Like right now, Reeves is in a position where it ain't on him. It ain't on him. It's going to be on LeBron and Luka. And when LeBron retires or he leaves there, it's going to be on Luka. And to me, you know, they want to say, well, Luka knocked Minnesota out last year. But if I'm not mistaken, Luka had some help from Kyrie. Luka had some help from Gafford and Lively in the paint.
And Anthony
You
Edwards.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, he had a lot of help.
And Anthony
he
Edwards,
had a
who
lot of
got
help.
tired. I got tired. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the Luka solution. You have a 1B, you have a collection of guys who can make threes and defend, and you have a shot blocker because Luka is not going to keep anybody out of the paint. So he was saying he doesn't see how the Lakers can construct a team that makes basically Luka a viable option. I'm saying you don't make the AD trade and then get rid of Luka. I'm gonna be honest. So because AD at least gave you a fighting option this season because he's 6'11", shot blocker, mobile, whatever. So
You know, Hugh, I was just thinking about this. Boston, by the time the Eastern Conference Finals comes up, Boston might sweep their first 2 series, this series and the next series, and then they'll probably most likely face Cleveland in the conference finals. Boston could sweep the first 2 series. Because from what I saw with New York yesterday, New York was lucky to beat Detroit. And Detroit had an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter.
yep.
So I'm looking at New York, and if New York gets through the Detroit series, they got to see Boston next round. They gone. They through. Question is Boston gonna sweep them, or is the league gonna make Boston let New York have a game?
This is Hugh from Boston. My opinion is I don't want to see the Celtics sweep. I don't think it's a good thing.
You may not want to see them sweep, but if they decide they're going to bring their A game, they sweep in those 2 series.
They could, but it's not good for the overall outlook.
I will say this though.
Well-
I can see Boston definitely sweeping at least the first series against Orlando. I can see that. Now, whether or not they sweep the second series, well, that's really good. Just gonna be up to the matchup that happens. But could they possibly not sweep the second series? I could definitely see that.
So look
I'm
at the
basing it
matchup,
off of
potential
New York's
matchups in the
record.
second series. No punch, Carson. If they play New
I'm
York,
basing
Cat is historically an underperformer, woeful underperformer. So New York would be handicapped if they get, if they survive Detroit. If Detroit makes it through, all bets are off. Because you know nothing about this Detroit team other than they're long.
They're long and they're
athletic.
They're a
young.
young
Young.
team.
So
They're a young team. Detroit's a young team who first playoff game with a lot of those guys on that team, and they had an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. You know, and I'm saying that even though they gave up that 21-0 run, they're a young team and they'll learn from that. But the thing that impressed me about Detroit, they play hard. They play hard. You know, they play hard, and they up and coming. And like I said, they had an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter in New York. Their first playoff game. Cunningham, all of those young guys. The only ones that, with any really playoff experience was Harris, Hardaway Jr., and Beasley. So I'm looking at it like if New York is struggling to beat Detroit, I don't see them beating Boston. That's for sure.
Hugh from Boston. I just don't like the concept of they have too much time off,
yes,
too much downtime, and that never works out well for a team.
yeah, that has historically. Last year that didn't work out well for Boston either. When they had
Yep.
downtime.
What
So they
Yeah.
really don't want to have downtime. That's true.
Yeah, because like for that stretch in which they won like 10 games in a row, like that was literally them sweeping through the first two, then won the next two.
But
I
see,
think
that's
when they
just
ran
another thing, too, about the playoffs, dude.
Into Indiana, correct?
You don't want to play in the playoffs. You don't want to play any extra games. When you start playing extra games, that increases your team's chances of getting somebody hurt.
Yes.
Right, and like we understand that side of it, but like we also have to look at like too much rest, and it's just like you're not warmed up enough going into like the actual next series.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this. The series, there's 2 series to see. I want to see the Cleveland-Boston matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I want to see OKC against Cleveland or Boston in the finals.
Just something tells me
Okay.
that like I just don't see Cleveland making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Just something
Well, like I said,
tells me
Cleveland-
that they're not.
Cleveland will get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't know if they can beat Boston. You know, I don't know. That like I say, that's the series I want to see in the East. I want to see Cleveland against Boston.
I don't trust
I
Cleveland
think-
to make it there, but we'll see.
Cleveland was struggling with
Because-
Miami today. So Cleveland is another
What's the-
one of those
what's the
teams
score-
that has
what's the
unproven
score
role
of that
players.
game?
It was 8 points at last report. Yeah.
Well, okay, but you got to give. But see, I don't.
It's
discredit
72-62
Miami.
Cleveland right now.
In a 1-8 matchup.
What's the score?
So
What you say the score is?
72-62. Third quarter just started with like 8 minutes left in the third.
Cleveland had 72 in the first half.
No,
See, I mean,
no. They had like 60 something in the first half.
Well, you know, Cleveland. You know, Miami got in as an 8 seed.
yes.
Miami ain't no pushover. I have utmost respect for Eric Spoelstra as a head coach. I've seen him get to the finals from the play-in position. So that
Yes.
series is not going to be a picnic for Cleveland.
But it
Cleveland better
should
make
be.
sure they take care of business at home. Don't go down to Miami and it's 1-1. Because then that's when we're in for a war.
62.
You know.
Okay, so let's say the score was 54 to 62 at halftime.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between Miami and, per se, Memphis.
Right, but again, this is Miami, who's an 8th seed
Missing Jimmy Butler. 'Cause that's
with
the other
no
difference.
Jimmy Butler, only Bam and Tyler Hero
And Wiggins,
and a freaking Andrew Wiggins,
who is inconsistent as all get out.
and they're still within striking distance of the number 1 team
In the East.
in the East.
Yeah.
It could happen. I mean, it could happen. But I think Boston's gonna come out of the East. We had this discussion, yeah.
I mean, also we've also seen this same Heat team, but with Jimmy Butler, come from the 8th seed and make it
Yep.
all the way to the finals.
Yep. But see, the magic word was Butler.
Yeah,
Butler
Butler.
did it. There's no one on this Heat team that I fear as much as Jimmy Butler. I think Wiggins is an incredible athlete. I think he's an incredible piece, but he ain't a him. He ain't a primary.
Oh no, definitely not.
So yeah, the fact that Cleveland is struggling with this Miami team, who gets them to the free throw line, for example? They're a collection of jump shooters. They have Tyler Hero, they have Duncan Robinson, they have Wiggins, who I guess could get them to the free throw line, but Jimmy Butler used to be the one who would get them into the penalty.
Oh yeah, and then we also got the Mitchell brothers going up against each other. I think this it's like the first time in a while that we've had brothers going up against each other in the first round of playoffs. Besides maybe the Morris twins, if they were even.
Well, did you have Caleb Martin's brother couldn't get out of New Orleans? Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I think this would be the first one, and that's a turnover by Tyler Hero. Pump fake Donovan Mitchell. Should be an and one right there. No, that wasn't an and one. No, I think what they call it, timeout. Yeah,
I
timeout.
think it was timeout.
Yep, Cleveland's up 76 to
And this game is
65.
far from over because it is a Miami Heat team but the coach of the year is Atkinson with Cleveland. So neat that you're beating your number 8 seed, who's actually a 10th seed. But
Yeah, because he's a coach of the year
Yeah.
candidate. Him.
I thought he won.
Oh wait, he won?
I thought he won.
No, in fact, he's a finalist. It's
Okay.
it's between him, JP Bickerstaff for Detroit, and Ime Udoka of Houston. Rookie of the year
I
is
think-
Zachary
I think-
Reiser,
I
Steven
think
Castle, and
Udoka-
Jalen Well.
I think Udoka is going to win it.
Yeah,
I
because he
wouldn't,
turned
I wouldn't be surprised
that
if
Houston team.
Bickerstaff wins it. But I'm looking at Udoka and what he's done with Houston. You know, I'm pulling for Udoka because I don't like the way that stuff went down in Boston, where they blamed him for what happened. But I always thought it always takes two to play in a situation like that. You know. But neither here or there. You know, that's Udoka's team in Boston as far as I'm concerned.
This is Hugh from Boston. I think he should still be the Boston coach.
Say that again?
He still should be the Boston coach.
That's my point. That's my point. But the thing is, with that being said, I would like to see Udoka win the Coach of the Year. You know. But with all that being said, it's gonna be some good playoffs.
This is Hugh from Boston, Vanny. You in a car?
Whose car alarm
that again?
just went off?
Wait a minute, say that again.
Whose car alarm just went off and we hear you next to an ice cream truck, sir?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, like I said, this game coming up at 6:30 today. Golden State and Houston. That's gonna be interesting too.
Well, Golden State's gonna have to learn a way to get Steph free. Because what Houston did was just basically, it's not a boxing one, but they shadowed Steph and made everybody else basically score. Jimmy Butler doesn't have a marked advantage on anyone other than the point guard out of Toronto, because he's 6'3". But everybody else is like 6'7". Now, he does have the experience advantage, so I think he should be able to use that. Jimmy has proven himself in the playoffs, so come on. Let's get this together. But yeah, they're going to have to get Steph free. I hope they do. I know that Golden State is favored, which is weird. Yeah. So, not sure how they're favored, and they're an older team. Anyway, maybe because they have the idiot out of Memphis, former idiot out of Memphis. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. So. Oh, okay. So yeah, car alarm. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to. Did we ever answer the question about how the Lakers get? I know we talked about it. Did we ever answer the question? Because I had a solution which Van didn't like. And I kind of hinted at it. How the Lakers become competitive, seriously competitive in 2 years.
You say how the Lakers?
This is Hugh
how
from
the Lakers do
Boston.
what?
Can I get can you define seriously competitive for me a little bit better? Does that mean a better than a 500 team, or does that mean getting along in the playoffs, or does that
Seriously
mean getting
competitive is making the Western Conference Final consistently with a solid chance, better than 40% of actually making it out of the Western Conference Final. So you may not make
Fair
it
enough.
out every
Just
year.
trying to get some parameters, that's all.
Yeah. So you have to have a team that actually can be considered one of the 4 best teams in the league. So, and really you just need to be top 2 in the West, but whatever. So how do this Lakers team, and Hugh has very little hope, and I'm happy about this again, it doesn't depress me. How do the Lakers field the team? Now, I will say that the Lakers have been incredibly lucky, and Rashid has made the point that there is no Jerry West coming through those doors. So, but the Lakers have been incredibly lucky in some of their trades. They've gotten some incredibly one-sided trades, and that has set them up for championships. So, anybody
if you look at it,
yeah.
If you look at it, LeBron came as a free agent. Okay, then they traded away the whole team for AD. Okay, the Lakers, to me, in my opinion, they would be more dangerous if they'd have kept Randall and kept them guys. You know?
Yeah, the number 2 picks. They had Randall. They had the dude in New Orleans. Well, he was in New Orleans. He's now in Toronto. They had a collection of really nice talent, but they traded away, like you said. So given that, is there any way that the Lakers field a team that is considered a serious? I mean, other than Shannon Sharp, Lakers in 5. Oh, which reminds me, anybody watch Nightcap? Because he had to eat his words. They had Joe Johnson on the show.
Yeah, I've watched that. He's still saying Lakers in 5.
Okay.
If you guys don't do nothing else, you got to listen to 3 guys tomorrow, maybe 4. Colin Cowherd,
Nick Wright,
Shannon Sharp, and Stephen A. Smith. Make sure you listen to them tomorrow. As you know, they was hyping the Lakers, and hyping the Lakers. But especially Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp gonna be on quiet tomorrow.
And like that's literally like the entire ESPN team, like they were literally hyping up the Lakers the entire time. Like they literally all said, "Oh yeah, this should be a competitive but easy series for the Lakers. Lakers should be winning that in 5 or 6." Like that's literally what they've been saying the entire time.
Okay, any of those guys that you mentioned know anything about basketball?
Well,
Shannon Sharp?
it's Hugh from Boston. I mean, they've ever since they made the trade, everybody's assumed that the Lakers are going to make the finals, particularly Laker fans, and that's not
Well,
correct.
that's because it's other things involved in that, Hugh. Who knows basketball can look at that team and see that that team is flawed.
That's my point. Anybody that you just mentioned, anybody you just mentioned, 3 of those guys are, if they're not on LeBron's payroll, they're definitely in LeBron's space. Shannon Sharp. Nick Wright is supposedly on LeBron's payroll. And Stephen A shouldn't even be supporting LeBron because they got into a spat. So, hey, he should be looking for Anthony Edwards to pull this out. But if you know basketball, and Stephen A does not know basketball, so I don't listen to him about basketball at all, and I barely listen about anything. But if you look at the team, as Van said, and I've explained this multiple times, I just looked at the team and I smiled once they made the trade. Because I was like, oh, you got nothing in the middle, and you got another bad defender to couple with the 2 bad defenders you have, or perimeter defenders you have right now, who you must play, because otherwise you can't score. So I'm like, ooh, perfect opportunity for LeBron to waste another year. Yay. So I can listen to them, but if they say something silly, like Lakers in 5, I will just say Vegas made Minnesota the prohibitive favorite in the series after that Game 1 loss. My money is going to go with Vegas more than it's going to go with Shannon Sharp.
I agree 100%.
Thank you. Yeah, Vegas folks get paid to handicap these games. I'm actually shocked they gave the Lakers odds on in this series, because I would have thought that they would know basketball better than that. But they came to their senses, and barring a suspension or an injury, the Lakers have a tough road to hoe. So, me personally, I think that there is a way for the Lakers. Oh, the other thing I propose, hey, Lakers want to make a deal quickly to become relevant. They have a guy whose contract is expiring. He makes a lot of money. Usually, that is a great way to fix your team. But do they make this trade? Do the Lakers trade LeBron James? Because I think he was on a 2-year extension, $51 million a year. So next year is
Hugh from Boston, I think next year's his last year.
I think that's his last year. So do the Lakers make that trade? And I know it'd be crazy for some team to pick him up, but hey, crazier things have happened.
Oh, yeah. No, it has. It'll be bad PR for LA.
Yes. But the upside is if you now have a championship caliber team in LA, you can potentially live with that PR hit.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a question. Hey, are you going to do your job, or are you going to just let the inmates run the asylum? Is Pelinka actually a GM, or is he just a yes man?
I think he also
Hugh
got.
from Boston, I don't
think-
think there's any question.
I
He's
think he
just a
got-
yes
He's
man.
just a yes man. Yeah. He got demoted.
No, promoted. I think he's also. Hold on, let me make sure.
Basketball operations. Head of basketball operations. Yeah.
Well, the thing I find so interesting is we haven't heard from Jeannie in years.
But there's no feel around. So there's no fun. Okay. Yeah, Jeannie was the brightest thing in the Buss family of that generation, because definitely the son was a total cluster. And maybe she
Title.
president and GM. Yep. So
Well,
basketball
let me just think of
operations,
this. Just thinking off the wall, how old are the Bus kids? They in their 60s, early 70s? Are they that old?
That sounds about right. Yeah, because Jeannie was hanging out with Phil Jackson, and he was in his 70s when they were hanging out. So I would not imagine she's younger than 20 years younger than him. So she's probably in her early 50s, mid 50s, and that was a few years ago.
No, I'm just looking at what they're going to do with the Laker ownership.
Yes, but does it go to the second generation buses? Or do they sell the team?
Can they get along?
I think history's shown that the Bus kids cannot get along. Yeah, she had to fight with her
The
brother.
best answer is I don't think they can get along. So,
I mean, like,
best answer to that, usually business-wise, sell the team.
I mean, like, we've seen throughout the history on like how much she had to go on, what she had to go through just to get the team from
her brother,
from her
Right.
brother, which was historical. So it's just like, if she's, I mean, like, could she sell the team? Yes, she could sell the team. It's just going to be.
Well, I mean, the family sell the team. One of them passes away, or somebody needs to raise some money for, estate taxes or other such things. I don't know. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
I think like she would be the the end all be all on whether or not the team sells or not, because I'm not even sure how much stakes the rest of them have in that.
Nor do I.
Which I don't think they have any stakes in it, so it's literally her decision at this point. After all those lawsuits, I think she has sole possession, if not like majority. So
That's an interesting question, Rashid. I'll look that up. I'm trying to figure out how they're.
Van Douglas, are you still there?
Van probably got some ice cream.
Okay, so for now, I'll take him off the air for now.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound good for the Lakers because it looks like their ownership group is going to be in chaos. They're going to age out. They're going to have basically no players on the contract. I don't know that they have a lot. Oh, no one mentioned this. I don't know that they have a lot of number one picks because I think picks were a part of some of the deals they've made. So
I didn't think they had one till 2030.
yes,
But I could be wrong.
yeah.
Lakers. And we're doing this because we got about 15 minutes left for the show. Let me make sure I'm spelling this right.
Well, it sounds like hard times for the Lakers. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yay. So they're gonna lose that count to Boston. If Boston wins another championship, they're gonna be 2 championships down if they include Minnesota's championships.
Okay, so let's look at future draft picks. So
Second round, 2025. First round, they own it. 2026, they own it in 2028, and they own it in 2030.
okay, so
Okay, so they've got some.
They lose
They
in
cycled out, I
2027.
guess, in 2025.
Yeah, 2025 they don't have one. So this next year they're hurting. Which may work to their advantage because Cooper Flag is not coming out this year, as you mentioned. I think
yeah,
I think his NIL deal is gonna pay him more than what his rookie scale deal would pay
right. So yeah, I think Cooper Flagg's gonna play one more year with
at Duke. Yeah,
with
build up his brand and then come out.
right.
And so if the league does not try to push him over to Chicago, the Lakers may have a shot at him.
But yeah, that also cause let's see, cause looking over here, they traded away their 2025 first round pick to Atlanta, and then the 2026 second round pick that's Toronto. And
Well, they just gave up on Bronny. I mean, the equivalent of Bronny James in 2026. So.
so 2027.
Oh, they do have Bronny. I forgot about that. They can build their team. They can have Luka and Bronny paired.
Well,
I just realized the Lakers' future is bright.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me actually take this seriously because Like,
Do you think Bronny's on the team after LeBron retires? That's where we're going with this.
I would probably not.
I don't think he's on the team.
No, does he have talents to survive in NBA? I think he does. But it's like, will he
Pretty
be
far down the bench.
But yeah, he'll be a bench player. He'll be a bench player. I don't see him as a
He's
starter.
a G League All-Star.
Yes, he'll be the next Matt McClung.
Oh, Matt McClung should actually have time. He should actually have a contract in the NBA.
Oh yeah, he should. He should.
Yeah, because he's been G League MVP or
I mean, literally 3-time NBA dunk
dunk
champion.
champion. Yeah,
And
he has
like-
enough notoriety that he should be in the NBA, and that's exactly why the NBA won't promote him up.
Right. And so, okay, it's 2027. And that's when I have a first round, but that's to Utah.
For selection 1 through 4. So it's protected if it's a 1 through 4. If this pick falls outside the protected range, LA will instead convey the 2027 second round pick to Utah. So if it's within 1 through 4, then Utah gets the second round pick. But if it's outside 1 through 4, then Utah gets that pick.
So basically, this really depends on if Utah is cheeks.
Well, no, it depends on if the Lakers is Sheets. Because if the Lakers are bad, then that pick is going to be potentially a top 4 pick.
Right, but it's Utah's pick. It's Utah.
No, I thought that they traded the pick to Utah.
Right.
And it's a 1-4, so I think it's the Laker pick. But if it's a 1 through 4 pick, the Lakers keep it. If it's a 5 or above, the Lakers have to give it to Utah. I think that's the way I read that. So
Someone needs to like literally go through that letter of law, because like again, like the way they worded this, because it's a Lakers 2027 first round pick to Utah, protected for selections 1 through 4.
4, yeah.
So basically, Utah gets a top 4 pick.
I don't think they'll get a top 4.
But if the pick falls within the protected range,
Then the Lakers, I think, keep the pick.
and
And then they give up a second round pick.
and then therefore,
But their 2027 has been given to Brooklyn. I mean, 2027 second round has been given to Brooklyn. So it's like, how does this work? This is hilarious.
right. So that's why literally the wording of this
It's weird.
is weird and,
Yeah.
and confusing because
Yes.
because it's literally, it should just read basically, okay, if it's a top 4 pick, that's Utah. If it falls below the top 4, then it turns into a second round pick, a top 1 through 4 second round pick for Utah.
Maybe they have another second round pick in 2027, but
They probably do.
I think the
Actually-
future of the Lakers is looking very bad. Van made the point that their only real hope is free agency. And like I said, the Lakers have gotten some favorable trades. Now, the question becomes, who could you trade? Move him to LA. I got a player. There's another player. The Clippers may be mad at this player, and I think he only has a 2-year extension. But you compare, I tell you this, you compare Luka with Kawhi Leonard. If the Clippers are tired of Kawhi, because Kawhi wants to play in LA, and so I don't think he'll be upset about that trade.
But how old is Kawhi now?
33, 34. So
Kind of old.
kind of old, but you're looking for what you can get. So when he's 35, would the Clippers be willing to let him go? I think so.
Yeah.
I think they'd be willing to let him go, even though he would be paired with a superstar, and he historically has not played years on years. I mean, games on games per year, so he's usually playing half the season. I think they'd be willing to make that trade because then they can get back some of their picks. Well, if the Lakers had any picks, the Lakers don't have any picks. The Lakers really don't have anything to trade either, so that's the other thing.
Like the only thing of value that the Lakers have right now that can actually that could possibly actually do something on another team, to me, is Dalton Connect. Like, to me, it's like he's like the main person of value, like that is actually tradable, and they've shown that they're willing to trade him.
But what do you think they'd get for him?
I mean, they tried to get a center, so it's just like Okay, so if this was a trade scenario with the Clippers, let's just play hypothetical. So what? So what? You're saying trade Kawhi for Dalton Connect, and because then who else? Because
The money wouldn't work if you just did that.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I was going
Yeah,
to say,
the
you
money
have to
wouldn't
match the
work.
money here, too.
Right. So like picks would have to obviously be included in that. But then what other player would you actually package into that deal to actually make it favorable for the Clippers to even consider that? Who on that Lakers roster that's not a like star would you put on? Well, actually no. I think the only person that I'd rather put on that will, sadly enough, would have to be Reeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I am.
Reeves and Connect.
Yep.
Reeves, Connect, and a draft pick for Kawhi. I think that sounds fair, right?
I think that's the money will probably match because Reeves makes 25,000 or 25 million. Well, even that I think Connect will be short because Connect's he's a high first. So
So
maybe he's around 7 million. They still be short because I think Kawhi is making like in excess of 40 million a year. So I think the Lakers are in a hard bargaining position.
Yeah.
That's the long and short.
Yeah.
What Hugh has said, I could develop a way of doing this. If you wanted Joel Embiid, I can kind of see them doing that to get a Joel Embiid. Because I think that money will probably match up. I think they can kind of do that. I don't know if Joel Embiid is a $40 million a year man. So I think they can
I
do
don't
that.
think Joel Embiid is even worth that right now, mostly because of his injury history. Just like, is it worth it?
I'm not arguing whether or not it's worth it.
I know. I think most what his presentation is, it's one of the few things that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the
Okay,
few things that
Okay,
work, so
it's the
they-
only way it works with all of the rules.
Yes.
We're pounding a square peg into a round
Round
hole.
hole. Yes.
So yeah, fair.
And it works for Luka
Philly,
because
yeah.
and Philly because they get rid of Embiid, but it works for Luka because he's a perimeter player. A big guy works for him.
Right, we don't. All we need Embiid to do is be able to stay on the court and not get in foul trouble and just not do stupid stuff.
Okay, don't ask for too much.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ask for stupid stuff. Definitely.
Yeah,
don't.
leave the stupid stuff off.
Definitely, the stupid stuff will probably be like the actual one thing that like will actually kill that team. Oh wow, this is still a
8-point game. Yeah.
with
8-point
10 minutes left, and we're actually wrapping up. We got like a couple minutes left. So are there any last words that you want to send out to the airways while we wrap this up? And Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell just put up a 3. Lead is back up to 11 with about 9:45 left in the game.
This is Hugh from Boston. The only thing I will say, the Lakers lose Tuesday, it's all over, whether it's 4 games or 5 games.
Oh, definitely. I think we can all agree that, like, literally, like, the Lakers are in trouble if they lose game 2. There's already signs of trouble when they lost game 1 yesterday.
Exactly.
It gets worse if they lose game 2 because now you got to start asking questions.
Okay, but if you look at history, what did Minnesota do last year? Did they go up and lose at home?
I believe they did.
Because they can't handle success. So,
I believe
yeah,
they
it would
lost.
look bad, but it'll depend on how mature this team is now. And again, they don't have Cat on the team, so that definitely is addition by subtraction. But what I remember about Minnesota is they were up, series should have been over, and it got extended. They had to win in Denver in 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then we saw what happened with Dallas.
yes. So, this Minnesota team is definitely volatile. I can say that much. They are definitely volatile.
But again, I'm still looking at the Lakers have a very poor away record.
Yeah.
All right. So, we've had Mo Funches from Carson. We've had Hugh from Boston. This is Rashid, the engineer. Life is good in Inglewood. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back next week with hopefully either the conclusion of a series or more action within a series. Right.
Hopefully a conclusion of a series.
All right. Until then, take care.
Whoa, life is good in Inglewood. God has blessed our neighborhood. So let's celebrate in the city of champions.
Inglewood, y'all.